Welcome to Thoughtful Thursdays, and we are delighted to have with us Mona Joumaa, dietitian, and she's going to talk to us about our eating habits. And I think everybody's interested in food, so I think we're going to have a lovely conversation. Welcome.
So thank you so much, Dr. Tariq, and I'm very excited today to chat with you about, healthy eating, specifically in men's health.
Yeah, wonderful. Especially because I'm a man, so I'm going to be very interested.
Yeah.
So me being a man, does it mean that I have to eat differently from my wife or from the other gender?
When it comes to the differentiation between, men and women, the basic principles of healthy eating habits, definitely they're the same, but there are some specific considerations that needs to be highlighted further in men. Number one, we need to think a little bit about the protein requirement, specifically if the man is more active. So the requirement in protein, specifically that men, they have higher muscle mass, so their body composition is different. So we need to highlight the protein requirement. We always opt to focus on protein sources of good quality, like for example, chicken, fish. Stay away from processed food that are very high in salt. And when it comes to men as well, we need to look at some specific population who are vegetarian. So some of the men, they don't consume animal sources. And here comes the importance of completing protein from the vegetarian options to get all of your amino acids. So there are some specific amino acids that are not produced in the body, and this is the role of the food to provide you all of these essential amino acids to get your muscle repaired. So for example, we need to combine, let's say, pulses like beans, lentil, chickpea with dairy product or with grains to get all of these profile. The second element, so other than the protein, also we need to take care, of your antioxidants. So antioxidants, usually they are components to fight against any inflammation. And specifically, Dr. Tariq, if you're exercising, okay? So if you're exercising, your body will be in a stress level, and that's why we need to reduce this level of stress by having a lot of, chemicals to fight against the stress. And simply those types of food are found in the fruits, in the vegetables, green leafy vegetables, berries, for example, tomatoes. So let us focus on these whole food options to get all of these inflammatory markers reduced in your body. And another aspect, we need to look at your bone health, right? So that's why calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D needs to be considered in addition to the zinc and to the selenium, because also they help with the muscle repair and also with the testosterone level. So that's why focusing on seafood, focusing on nuts, focusing on dairy product, seeds like chia seed, flax seed is simply very important.
So it's if you're not a vegetarian man, it's actually quite natural to want to eat meat, because that's actually, a popular attitude. Men like meat. It's almost like cultural, and it's in many cultures, like he's a man, he needs to eat meat. So that actually makes sense.
Correct, that's true. But again, there is a thin point between eating the right amount of meat and exceeding the amount of protein
so
in your body.
So what would happen if I eat too much protein?
Exactly. So if you eat excessively protein, protein or specifically animal sources, they're very high in saturated fats. And saturated fats, they are one of the reasons to affect your heart. Okay. And heart condition is really prevalent in men.
Yes,
so that's why we need to be really cautious about the amount of animal sources that I'm getting. Another issue, eating a lot of protein will lead to increase your uric acid in the blood, which is also like a metabolite that your body doesn't like too much. And if you have high uric acid, you will start having some gout symptoms like pain in your feet, for example. So all of these are consequences of, eating too much from this amount. If I'm eating too much protein, also I'm overloading my kidneys, right? So at one stage, your kidneys won't be capable to get rid of these extra amino acids. So it's just an overload. So that's why usually we recommend to have a balanced diet.
How is a man gonna know what the right balance is? Does he need to visit you?
Yes.
Does he have to go to a dietitian, or are there like general rules that you could express which makes it easy for men to find that balance.
Correct. So here, comes the role of health providers, healthcare providers, to spread awareness, among all the population, not only the men, to provide the right information about healthy eating, how to prevent condition, how to avoid, specifically if you have any family history, any genetic predisposition. So this is our role in, sending awareness, informing the population, and, having regular checkup with the doctors, checking their blood test. And if the doctor, for example, see that there is something that is not within the regular normal, he can advise the doctor to see the specialist, which could be the dietitian or the nutritionist. Yeah.
And I'm also wondering if you've noticed, or maybe it's just me, but because you're specialized in this, I'm sure you're more focused than I am, that nowadays we have a lot of healthy restaurants providing healthy food. And maybe they are more cautious of the ingredients that they are using, and they are, trying to avoid the preservatives and the additives that you mentioned. Can we trust that? Is that really what's going on? Are there really restaurants out there who are really, let's say, exploring the market of people who want to be healthy and who want to eat healthy? Or should we say, well, it's easy to make something look healthy because I can never test or check whether the preservative is in the meat or not?
Correct, yeah. Again, don't rely on these as your main source of nutrition. If it happens that few times per week you didn't have the time to prepare for your food, or for example you've had some meetings where you didn't have the convenient time to make your own food, these are better options. But you cannot rely 100% on these restaurants, because at the end a lot of recipes are claimed to be gluten-free, for example, but they're packed with a lot of additives, salt. So this is the thing, I should not be fascinated by a specific label or maybe a specific brand, because as you've mentioned, some hidden sources or some hidden ingredients that are not very positive to my body could be part of this recipe. So again, do not be dependent on this, restaurants or ingredients. And again, if you want to use the rule 80-20, and if it happens occasionally, this is absolutely fine.
This is so educational, Mona. It's really wonderful to talk to you. I think I could continue talking about this for hours, but we have to, at a certain point, round up. And I think your 80-20 advice, I hope everybody heard that. It's also easy to remember, and I think it's pure gold. This advice. It's very easy to remember, and because we are so in our busy lives, we are so forced sometimes, to look for a quick solution to eat. I think that everybody has benefited a lot from your presence with us, and I want to thank you very much for sharing your expertise with us, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
Sure, with pleasure. Thanks to you, Dr. Tariq.
Thank you.